guys are doing well. Today is day 11 in my December daily for 2025, and I am working on a photo of a work party where we were all hanging out at one of the tables. This is one of many work parties they had for us this year. I am really surprised, or actually not really surprised, I shouldn't say. I have never worked at a company that had so many celebrations for things as far as like Christmas and things like that. And not just with my department, but they will be with the entire like site and then maybe the entire department and then maybe the smaller department. So it's super fun to do this. It is quite the busy time of the year right now, so it's a little difficult to go to all of them. So in this particular one, we actually had training this day, so we only were able to stay for a little bit, but we were able to enjoy the festivities. They had a potluck and that kind of thing. So it's really cool that the company does those kinds of things for us and lets us have this time to hang out and chill and talk non-work things. So super appreciative, and I wanted to document this, journal it, and talk about just the parties in general. So it's not specifically about this party. There is some information about this party, but most of it is just about the fact that my company does allow us to have parties for Christmas and things like that. So I'm just working through here trying to figure out what I want to put on the page as far as fonts and ephemera and that type of thing. So I just pull out a bunch of different things. I like this merry and bright, so I'm going to trim this out. And you can see I pulled out some fussy cut die cuts, a little phrase, a tag. I don't know what I'm going to actually use, so I'm just pulling a bunch of stuff that I think would look cute. And then at the end, I'll kind of decide what I'm actually going to use. So just flipping through these different papers, trying to figure out what might look good. And I want something kind of festive, but not like overly busy. So I'm going to end up, I think I end up using this snowflake paper if I remember correctly. And I am going to make a huge kind of flag with the paper here. I am going to mount the photo on a different color first because again, even though it has that white border, I did want some separation between the white border and the photo. Or I'm sorry, not the photo, but the flag. So I'm going to be trimming this out. I want to make sure it's the right size. I want the photo to fit on here, and then I'm going to trim out a triangle shape at the bottom, again, to make that kind of flag design. Just measuring here, trying to make sure it's going to look nice. I wanted it not to be as long as the page, so I'm trimming off a little bit at the bottom. And then I will semi-measure to try to figure out where the center is and then about how far I want to cut up. So you can see me here just kind of measuring. I didn't want it to be too lopsided, so I'm semi-eyeballing it, but also semi-measuring. Just going to trim that from corner to that dot that I placed on here. Going to use these larger scissors because I can get a nice straight cut with pretty much one straight cut without having to open and close the scissors multiple times, which then leads to typically a straighter cut. Not always. So now I really like the silver dots here, but again, like I had mentioned, it felt like it was just blending into the page or the photo too much. So I am going to mount the photo on a different color of paper. Just had to go through my stash trying to find out what I thought was going to look the prettiest. I like this kind of plaid-ish, gingham-ish looking print. So I'm thinking about this one. But I decided that this brighter pink looked better with the bright pink dots on the paper here. So I ultimately end up pulling this out. So you're going to see here that I'm going to mount this flag shape onto this pink paper, and then I'm going to take the pink paper and mount the photo on it. So it has this like multiple layered effect. So I'm going to glue that down, and I'm just going to trim around the sides so that it's relatively even. And I just like how this makes it pop off the page a bit more. I have that green kind of ledger paper in the background, which I think is really pretty. I like that green color. I think it works well with the Christmas or just really any kind of neutral theme. And I think this pink paper really pops on that green colored paper in the background. I felt like it was a little too thick in a certain places, so I am trimming down it a little bit, trimming it down a little bit. And then I'm going to place it there. And again, my photo looks a little sad. Oh, I didn't want that top part of the pink showing. I kind of wanted it to look like it's attached to the very top of the page. And the pink border at the very top kind of made it look floating. And I apologize, my book's up a little bit high, so you aren't seeing the very top of the book, but you're not missing too much. It's not much that's cut off. So here, oh, I thought I did pick the pink, but I must have pulled a different color. I think I actually pulled, yeah, something else because I didn't want to have too much of that pink. So just going through, testing out a bunch of stuff. Obviously, I'm not happy with most of the stuff I'm pulling out, but I promise I do find something that I like. That blue was pretty, but just didn't seem to work, so I'm still looking around. And then I decide on the snowflake. So the snowflake is the backside of that gray or silver polka dot. And I thought that looked nice. Just gave a little bit of color pop to it, but nothing too crazy. And it blends in because it's same from the same paper line. So this is perfect. Just trimming that up to have a nice little border. I do cut this down a little bit. It's a little too thick on the one side. And I like how that looks a lot more. Even though the white and the border on the picture isn't much different than the white paper, having that kind of color of the snowflakes just helps with the separation. So now I am going to put this ribbon across the top of the flag just to give it a little more texture. And then I'm going to use tape because it makes it nice and easy. I don't need to glue it. Just taping the background because you're not going to see what it looks like. And then once I tape it down, I am going to tie a little bow on top of the ribbon. And then this way I didn't have to try to like tie the two ends together and tape it. I thought this was just a little bit of an easier way to get the bow on. I don't know if it's any more efficient, but I just felt like it was going to be a little bit easier and to give it a nicer bow. So I'm going to have to play with this bow a little bit. I want it to lay relatively flat. It is going to lay kind of cockeyed, like to the side. It's not going to be laying, I guess horizontal. It's going to be more vertical, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. I thought I was going to need to move it around, but I actually do like it the way it is. And I don't mind that it's going to stick off the top of the page just a little bit. And the bow turned out really cute. Actually, the ribbon laid a lot nicer than I thought it would. I did play with it for quite some time, as you saw, and this is sped up about 2 times, but it ultimately looks nice. Just gluing everything down, putting in lots of adhesive on just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then I will place this flag shape on the page. I am putting it off to the right more than the left. I kind of now after or once I started this, I probably should have made the flag just a little bit skinnier because I wanted it to be more on the right. But I think between making the whole flag to the right and then having the bow to the right does have the layout kind of leaning more to the right, which I liked. So it ended up working just fine. I am going to take this and add a little flag to the end. I thought the straight edges were just a little boring, and I thought this also mimicked the flag of the whole gray piece that I have on the page. Just going to add that there at the bottom, like a little banner. I think that's super cute. I think I might mount that on another piece of cardstock too. I thought I'd use these kind of drinks, and I do like this now looking at it, but for some reason it just wasn't looking good for me when I was doing the page, so I do pull it off. I think it was just covering up too much of the flag shape at the bottom, and the whole point of me doing the flag shape is so you could see it. So if I'm covering up with a bunch of embellishments and you can't see that it's there, what's the point? So I do end up deciding just going with this tag that says all the jolly vibes and then the number 11 for day 11. And now I'm looking through other things. I just desperately want something else. It just felt like there was something else that was needed here. And I was just not finding what I was liking. I'm looking through this chipboard piece. I do not pull anything off of here. I'm going to look at other things in my stash. Now the sticker sheet. I thought, well, maybe I'll put a tab here. I stopped playing with the embellishment cluster at the bottom because I just was not feeling it. The tab, I thought, well, maybe that tab is nice, but it just wasn't the right color. So I do end up putting this little pink tab here. And then I layer it, I think with another tab, or maybe I just keep the one tab. Or maybe I pull one of the paper tabs actually. Oh no, I think I do keep it just like this. I've done this just a little bit ago. I don't quite remember exactly how this all turned out, but I do feel like there's something else that's still needed. And I put the little heart sticker in yellow. There's yellow on some of the embellishments and in that polka dot paper, so I thought that worked cute. I'm going to pull this memory sticker and I am going to add this to the All the Jolly Vibes tag, again bringing that yellow through the layout a bit more. I am going to punch holes in both the 11 and All the Jolly Vibes tags, and I'm going to add a, what is it called, an eyelet. And then I will put them together, so they'll actually be fastened together with that eyelet. I am going to pull one out. I think I pull a white one, or no, a silver one. I wanted something lighter for this particular one. So I'll stick that on, use my Crop-A-Dile to smush it down. And then that's pretty much this layout come together. I am going to do journaling on my vintage typewriter and cut it into strips. You'll see what that looks like at the very end. I'll have photos of the journaling for you to look at the completed layout. And now I'm messing with my Crop-A-Dile. It was not wanting to close properly. Finally got it. And now I'm going to put a little bit of ribbon through here. I am just going to add a little bit of glue. I didn't want to tie this because it was going to add too much bulk. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit, add a little bit of glue just to kind of adhere the ends down so it lays nice. And I think having that green ribbon on the tag just brings the green ribbon from the top down to the bottom a bit and just makes the whole layout a bit more cohesive. So I'll just take some liquid glue. I didn't like having the tag on the right because I had the green ribbon on the right. So I'm going to end up putting it over here. And I think having the diagonal style of the ribbons where the bow is at the top right and then the tag tails are on the bottom left just looks a lot nicer. Use some of my Fabri-Tac or my 3-in-1 beacon glue, and then I will add some regular 3M Scotch tape type of stuff to this tag. So yeah, I really like how this turned out. I am going to add a little bit more here so it all just sticks on the page. It doesn't flop around too much. And you will see the journaling at the end. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. And I will be back very soon with day number 12 to share it with you. Thanks. Bye, everybody.